Hey loves, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Faith, and today guys I'll be checking out Thomas Sowell as he speaks on the most harmful political industry in America. And you guys, I'm super excited as always. If you're yet to subscribe to this channel, please consider subscribing, give this video a massive thumbs up, comment, share, and all that good stuff. And without much ado, let's see what Thomas Sowell has for us in this video.
Race is more than a biological category or a social category. It has become an industry with its own infrastructure, branches, incentives, and agendas. The most obvious examples are the political representatives of particular racial or ethnic groups, as exemplified by the Congressional Black Caucus or the Hispanic Caucus or such non-governmental organizations as La Raza or the NAACP. Many academic institutions have various ethnic studies departments or programs, and their thrust is by no means confined to academic scholarship seeking objective facts about those groups. The legal profession is also well represented among those specializing in racial issues, and here too, the disinterested search for truth is seldom the overriding consideration. Diversity consultants in private industry and community organizers in racial or ethnic neighborhoods are among the many other occupations that are a part of the race industry. Despite the wide variety of occupations in the race industry, there are commonalities in their underlying visions and agendas. Central to their mission is the presumption that economic lags, educational deficiencies, or even high crime rates among the respective groups they represent are due to the failings or malice of others. Views or facts to the contrary are to be discountenanced, or if possible banned or punished, rather than engaged. In addition to the particular portrayal of racial or ethnic issues promoted by the race industry, there is a highly selective view of what sorts of solutions are needed. Almost invariably, these are policies or actions that enhance the role, power, prestige, and economic flourishing of the race industry itself, even if these policies or actions are demonstrably counterproductive in their effects on the people in whose name the race industry speaks. A classic example is the policy of preferentially admitting members of specifically selected minorities, which do not include Asian Americans or Jewish Americans, for example, to colleges and universities under the rubric of affirmative action or diversity. In addition to promoting particular policies, such as affirmative action, the race industry promotes more general ideas and concepts, such as social justice and disparate impact. Both the specific policies and the general concepts need closer scrutiny than they usually get from the media or even academia. There have been many examples of progress in race relations, and especially of economic progress by groups that used to lag further behind others than they do today. Many individuals and organizations have claimed credit for that progress, but, as has been said in other contexts, victory has 100 fathers and defeat is an orphan. Those who celebrate the rise in incomes, occupations, education, and in other ways among blacks, Hispanics, and other American minorities, and in many cases celebrate the ideas, policies, and leaders supposedly responsible for this progress, seldom even attempt to cite ideas, policies, or leaders responsible for such things as a rising murder rate among blacks and others in the 1960s, despite the fact that their murder rates have been going down, especially among black males, prior to the 1960s. The catastrophic decline of the black family and the social consequences of increasing majorities of fatherless children in the wake of the burgeoning welfare state in the 1960s has few contemporaries prepared to take responsibility, and many prepared to blame it on a legacy of slavery, when in fact more black children grew up with two parents even under slavery, and in the generations that followed, than today. Nor is such degeneration peculiar to the United States. In Britain, Dr. Theodore Dalrymple paints a very similar picture of a violent and disorganized subculture with family disintegration and widespread ignorance in lower-class white neighborhoods. He says of his young patients, Very few of the 16-year-olds whom I meet as patients can read and write with facility. They do not even regard my question as to whether they can read and write as in the least surprising or insulting. He adds, "One can tell merely by the way these youths handle a pen or a book that they are unfamiliar with these instruments. As for mathematics, I cannot recall meeting a 16-year-old white from the public housing estates that are near my hospital who could multiply 9 by 7. I do not exaggerate. Even 3 by 7 often defeats them." When a race of people who produced Shakespeare and Sir Isaac Newton now produces large numbers of young people who are functionally illiterate and unable to do simple arithmetic, do we need to resort to either genes or discrimination to explain this degeneration? These British youths have no legacy of slavery to fall back on as excuses. Nor is it clear that such excuses are valid for black youths with the same behavior patterns on the other side of the Atlantic. Such behavior patterns escalated on both sides of the Atlantic with the ascendancy of the welfare state ideology that is essential to establishing a welfare state in a democratic society. Once brought into being, a welfare state can subsidize counterproductive behavior, which the welfare state ideology excuses or promotes, but which would be unsustainable without being underwritten by the taxpayers' money. Much of the social progress among lagging groups which took place in the latter half of the 20th century, and for which many intellectuals, politicians, and others have taken credit, represents the continuation of strong trends that antedate the social legislation which has so often been regarded as the primary cause. The largest rise out of poverty among black Americans, for example, occurred prior to the civil rights legislation and escalating social welfare legislation of the 1960s. Nor has this pattern been confined to America. Group preferences have been demanded and instituted in various parts of Europe and Asia after there had been a significant increase in the number of members of lagging groups who became more educated. So it is difficult to disentangle how much of the group's advancement has been due to the preferences and how much is due to the rising level of education that preceded the preferences. Where there has been a degeneration in behavior, however, whether in falling test scores or rising crime rates or other indicators, this has seldom been correlated with the kinds of factors that have been widely used as explanations, such as poverty or discrimination. Some of the most visible and most persistent degeneration, such as skyrocketing crime rates in the 1960s, occurred when poverty and discrimination were becoming demonstrably less severe. Such external explanations do not square with the facts. Something has been happening within the minds of people, whether spontaneously or as a result of ideas spread by others. In the United States, much of this moral or ideological source of social degeneration can be traced to what can be called the race industry.
Wow, you guys, that was so enlightening. That was such a good one from Thomas Sowell. When I listened to him, I learned so much that I didn't even know about. And he always opens my eye to new ideas, new theories, new things that I have no idea about. This was such an insightful one with Thomas Sowell. It was really a good read, and I had fun reacting to him. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section about this video. If you totally enjoyed watching, give it a massive thumbs up, comment, share, and all that good stuff. And this is me officially signing out. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.